Maghrib prayer, the time of Isha begins, and we are expected to sleep before Tahajjud and get up, because that is also inferred from the Holy Quran. So the no man's land between Isha and Tahajjud should be that period of sleep and rest. And according to the Holy Quran, that should also be some hours, because Hazrat sallallahu alaihi wasallam is definitely told that previously you have been staying almost awake the entire night and you had very little to sleep, but now we ask thee to increase your sleep to at least 1/3 of the night, or half of the night, or a little more. So that shows that for the long nights you could you can minimize your sleep to 1/3, because in the winter nights the nights are longer, and 1/3 is quite enough. It amounts to a few hours. In the summer night you could reduce it to half or even more, with the result that Tahajjud time and sleep time become almost equally balanced. So it all depends upon the changing climate, changing days, or the duration of days. So from that I infer that there should be a few hours time between Tahajjud and Isha prayer, because sleep time is the separating factor. So if you work back from add an hour and a half to Tahajjud and a few hours of sleep, it would almost come back to the middle of the night. So that judgment, which is based on intuition, seems to be a correct judgment. As far as Hazrat Muslim Maud is concerned, I remember during my childhood that he was of the opinion that normally, under ordinary circumstances, mid of the night should be treated as the end of the time for Isha. But if you are on a journey or under under compelling conditions, and you are not going to sleep anyway, then even if you miss that mark, Isha will be still within time, technically speaking.
In this respect, if you allow me, I have added in this country the word.
Please. I allow you to add in this country.
So I have added the word in this country.
Yes.
Now after listening Hazur's answer, very
midnight would be midnight in every country.
No, there's another point which came in my mind just now. After listening.
Okay.
In this country, there is a shift work. Some people work at night and sleep in the morning.
Yes.
And for those people who come, for example, mid of night from the work.
No, as far as, just a minute. Their shift should not change the injunctions of the Holy Quran at all. They should say Isha prayer according to their convenience. But as far as the injunctions go, they do not depend on the customs of a country.
No, so in that exceptions is what
there is no exception about it. What time does the shift begin?
The shift is 24 hours in some.
No, one man does not continue to work.
8 hours shift is there. Yes.
Of course, so the shift must have two ends and a middle.
Yes.
And I know in the night shift too they have breaks.
Yes.
So they could say the prayer either in the beginning if the sun is already set,
yes,
or in the middle break. It's just possible for them.
No, it is possible.
So then what?
You
want me to make it impossible?
I want more clarification. I'm not doing shift work.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Wanted to clarify.
Yes, please. So where is the longer question?
Somebody else.
Achha, okay.
I'll fill the gap.
Yes, please.
In the video cassette, sir, of 18,584 here, there is a mention, sir, that for the idolaters, praying after death is not permitted, for others it is.
For the idolaters, what is not permitted?
Any prayer for their bakshayish or for their forgiveness.
Quite right, yes.
Yes, sir.
Quite right, yes.
But someone else had told me earlier that we could pray for Allah's raham for anyone.
Allah's raham or?
For anyone, for their forgiveness. Not forgiveness, that Allah may show or sort of treat them with kindness. Is it permitted, sir, in that much? Say to a Hindu friend of mine who is an idolater.
During the lifetime, you can pray for anybody for whatever you please. That verse applies only to a state after death. After your idolater friend is dead, then do not seek forgiveness of Allah for such a man who died as idolater. That is what is said.
That is clear, sir.
But to begin to try to defeat the purpose, and find a healer, this is what you want. So for that, instead of asking me a question, refer to a book, Kitabul Hair. That will provide you with something.
Another, sir, that I have not been able to understand. Again, in the same cassette it was mentioned that no Quranic verse or prayer could be recited in sajda.
That's right.
Or perhaps in ruku. Is it prohibited in ruku also?
No, just sajda.
Why, sir? Though it is the injunction of Holy Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
Why? The argument or
the recitation of the Holy Quran in itself has a loftiness about it as such, and during the extreme state of prostration you are humble, but the Holy Quran is not humble. That is, some people say that, but against that there are certain other arguments. Some say that if Holy Quran is the lofty book, there is no doubt, but Allah is loftier, which made the revelation lofty. So why do you say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la then? So that is also an argument on the other side. So we don't know, in fact, in reality, we can only surmise or conjecture as to what may have been the reason, but the real reason is not mentioned. All that is mentioned is that you should praise Allah and extol Him, and do not recite the Holy Quran during your prostration. So let's leave it at that.
For your information, sir,
this is why Hazrat Muslim Maud, in the beginning, through his own argument, reached the conclusion that he didn't know that Rasulullah had positively said it. So he was of the opinion that the Maulvis perhaps say that, and I don't agree, and one can say besides. But when he came across this tradition, then he changed his view and said, although I couldn't understand, but I accept it. Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was better judge when he says. So it's not necessary that we understand everything what he says. Sometimes he doesn't mention the hikmah behind it. So we accept it at the face value. Whatever it is said, we accept it. That's that. Did you want to say something else on something?
That was a rejoinder to that Sultan Mitra's article was sent in the beginning of this month to US.
Mitra's article?
A rejoinder to it was sent.
Achha, you have sent it. Thank
yes,
you. Jazakallah.
In the beginning of this month it was.
But now you have raised this point, I'll think over it. This Sajda and the Holy Quran.
Yes, sir.
I'll try to reconcile my own views on this. Yes, please. Two hands. One is Khaja